All right, so this topic is probably one of the most important videos that I will ever do regarding your health. I didn't know what to call it, so I titled it, The Most Important Antioxidant is Melatonin, Not Glutathione. But this information is completely brand new. You've never heard this before, and it's very important information. Now, a few weeks ago, I interviewed Dr. Roger Schwelt. It was a fascinating interview related to vitamin D. And there's one point at the end where he talked about some of the studies not really coming out that dramatic with your immune system using vitamin D. And then he said something that really got my attention. He said that it was probably not just vitamin D. He said that if they did the studies with actual sun, not just vitamin D, you'd probably see a much better outcome. And then he sent me this paper that literally blew me away, and I put the link down below. And this video is a summary of that paper. And so people, they want to live as long as possible. Why do people die? Well, the great majority of people die because of heart disease. That's the first cause of why people die. The second cause is cancer. And the third reason why people die is related to some metabolic illness. It could be diabetes, it could be Alzheimer's. It really depends on what country you live in, but typically it's related to some metabolic underlying cause. And what's common about all these reasons why people die is that they're all mitochondrial diseases. In other words, there's some type of dysfunction that destroys the mitochondria. And with cancer, it originates in the mitochondria become damaged, and then that cell then converts over into a cancer cell. Now with heart disease, we have a lot of free radical damage, whether the person's on a high carb diet or they're a smoker or they have a lot of oxidative stress. And then we create this irritation or inflammation in the inner arteries, but that damage is being created in the mitochondria. And so if we really look at the essence of where the problem is, we're getting this excess of oxidative stress and free radical damage. Normally, our body is supposed to protect against that, okay? And the way that it protects against that is through the antioxidant networks. There's certain enzymes that act as antioxidants, one being glutathione. It's considered the most important antioxidant. But guess what? Melatonin is even more powerful and more effective because melatonin is not only an antioxidant, it triggers other antioxidant networks, including glutathione. I mean, melatonin is twice as powerful as vitamin E. And we know the importance of vitamin E to prevent heart disease inside the arteries. So melatonin is a very powerful antioxidant, and it triggers other antioxidants. Now, you're probably saying right now, wait a second, I thought melatonin was really about helping you sleep. It's involved in the circadian rhythm. It helps people take it if they get jet lag. And maybe you've heard something about how melatonin is now used to help your immune system, since it's now considered an immune modulator to help you regulate your immune system. And of course, I won't mention specifics, but it's very, very powerful against certain viruses. And on top of that, there's a lot of research on how it's an extremely potent anti-cancer compound or a hormone. All right, so maybe you already knew that, but what you don't know is this. There are two forms of melatonin. There's a type of melatonin that is in your blood circulatory system, as well as inside your pineal gland. And your pineal gland makes melatonin stimulated from darkness, okay? But there's also another type of melatonin that is subcellular. That means it's inside your cells. It's inside the mitochondria. And the reason why it's there is to help protect against the massive oxidation and free radical damage that usually occurs in the mitochondria. So there's two forms of melatonin, circulatory and subcellular. This part right here, the mitochondria that's inside the cells, is the great majority of the melatonin in your body. In fact, there's some new data that indicates that the melatonin in your pineal